Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. Now today's topic, I mentioned it last week, is symbols. So as a professional intuitive, I spend my life reading symbols. That's kind of what I do. If I give someone an aura reading, I'm reading symbols. Symbols that are sort of structured units of electromagnetic energy floating around in their energy field that I then translate into meaning. And when you think about it, everything is a symbol. Your whole life, everything in your life is a symbol. Because everything that you see around you, you're superimposing your own unique perception of that thing onto it. So your whole life is a series of symbols just reflecting meaning back at you. Now, we humans, we've been around for a while, and long enough to layer all sorts of associations and mythology on top of all sorts of objects. And so, the same objects have come to mean multiple different things, and there are certain symbols that are ancient and archetypal and go across all cultures and all countries. So the tree is a symbol like that. It's ubiquitous. It transcends time and space. Now, I wrote a book a few years ago. It was called The Midas Tree. And the story takes place inside a tree. And the symbol of a tree is used as a vehicle for transmitting spiritual teachings. Now, before I wrote that book, because it was a channeled book, I hadn't really spent much time thinking about trees or the symbolism of trees. But having written that book and ended up with that novel all taking place inside a tree, it piqued my curiosity to do a little bit of research about the symbol of the tree. So, and here's the thing. Well, let's think about the tree. And the tree, you can find the tree as a significant spiritual symbol all over the world. Ancient cultures like ancient Egypt, ancient Babylonia, all the ancient pagan cultures, North mythology, the Druids, all the ancient cultures, all the ancient cultures in South and Central America as well. And today, in present time religious thinking, the tree is an important symbol, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's Mormonism, the Jewish Kabbalah, Zoroastrianism. It's really penetrates across all belief systems. So let's pick apart the tree and talk a little bit about what the tree symbolizes. Last week we were talking about the cycles of life. And when you think about it, at least trees that are present in temperate time zones are teaching us about the cycles of life. I think all trees are actually, because, it goes through different stages in its life cycle, whether it's going through a stage where it is producing fruit, maturing fruit, producing seeds, or having flowers, or going through a time of rest when it's not doing any of that. And if you think about my favorite topic, which is grounding, you just have to look to the roots of the tree. The roots of the tree. The roots of the tree penetrate deep into the soil, and they anchor the tree into the earth. Okay, without those roots it would topple over. Without those roots it wouldn't be very strong at all. Without those roots it wouldn't be stable, and it wouldn't stay where it's meant to be. So the roots of a tree can teach you how to ground. The roots of a tree can teach you about your connection with the earth, your connection with the planet. And just like the roots penetrate and reach deep into the earth, the branches of the tree are reaching upward. And so that's a symbol of your connection to cosmic consciousness. And whatever word you like to use for that, you know, whether you use the word God or whether you use the word source or some other word, we have the symbolism of connecting physical reality with spiritual reality through the roots and through the branches. And let's think about the flowers when the tree produces a flower. Flowers, they start off as little buds. They're all closed up. You know, their full beauty is yet to be beheld. And then as the light shines, as the sunlight shines on the flower, it opens. It opens in the light, and then you see the full beauty of the bloom. So the flower is a symbol of unfoldment to God. The flower is a symbol of your unfoldment on your spiritual journey. So flowers are another great sort of ubiquitous symbol. And in the East we have the lotus, and in the West we have the rose. And they are both used to symbolize the same thing, which is spiritual unfoldment. Now, I'm sure you've seen those. I think years ago, people used to give all sorts of different flowers as gifts, depending on the occasion and what meaning they wanted to convey. So, certain flowers were usual to give in a funeral or at a wedding, and so on. And actually, it's the same thing with different types of trees. Different types of trees have come to signify different aspects. Anyway, to take the sort of symbolism of the tree and the elements of the tree a little bit further, so, you know, after we have the flowers, then they mature into fruit. So we have a symbol here of ripening, of maturing, of developing wisdom, of creating something wonderful. So within the symbolism of the tree, we can also learn about manifestation, abundance, creativity, and all of those wonderful things. And then, of course, within the fruit, there are seeds and there are nuts. And encapsulated within that is potential for new growth, potential for a new cycle to begin. New wisdom, new learning, new potentials. So Corey, does the tree have any deep meaning for you?
In my past, it would be the tree of good and of knowledge in Eden, from the story from the Bible. But Adam and Eve, when they ate from the tree, Eve ate and they got Adam to eat, and it created the whole concept of sin and the decline of that morality that they had at that point in time, and they were cast from Eden. So it's amazing what a piece of fruit can do. And again, it's just symbolism, and it's incredible. As far as the symbol of the tree itself, no, I can't really say I've had a lot of experience or relationship with that in itself.
Yeah, but you know that idea of the tree of knowledge and eating from the tree of knowledge and the descent of man and the separation of man from God. It's not just in the Christian Bible. It goes. I believe that they talk about it in the same concept in Buddhism, in Hinduism, in Islam, in even Zoroastrianism. It's something that is so ancient. It goes beyond modern religions and modern belief systems.
Okay, I have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask. Zoroaster, is it the following of Zorro?
No, it's the following of Zoroaster.
And was there a big Z marked on that tree?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe there was. I don't know. And of course, in ancient Norse mythology, the tree of life was a big deal. And I'll try pronouncing this one, their name for the tree. And if anyone out there listening knows the correct pronunciation of this, it's spelled Yggdrasil.
Oh, yeah. You just little...
Yeah, I did know how to pronounce that, but I've forgotten. So
I remember in our First Nations here, one of their mythologies is kind of interesting. Is that they were tired of war, so what one of the wise men did is he uprooted a tree, or one of the gods uprooted a tree, and then they took all their arms and bows and arrows that they used for war and put it in the tree, and then replanted the tree over top of them. That was interesting.
Yeah.
It's a commercial on TV at one time.
Well, I remember being told by somebody, a native here locally, that there's such a thing as a question and an answer tree. That certain, that they would go to certain trees to ask a question, and then they would go to another tree to meditate and get the answer. So
we've been to that site.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have.
Down off of Granville.
That's right. And in a lot of ancient mythology as well, trees were kind of demarked the passage between one world and another, the passage between the physical world and the spiritual world. So in a lot of those ancient beliefs, as you crossed over the border from life to death, there would be a tree that you would pass.
I went into a forest one time when I was in Vermont that had special meaning to the people that I was involved with at the time. I walked into this forest, and I have to say, I broke out into tears. I just started to cry. It's like the trees had emotion, and because something very special happened there, and it was just a phenomenal feeling to be able to be there. I had the same thing up near Pemberton in the forest, where the ancient forest where the trees are like humongous, and you can feel the wisdom. They've seen it all, they've heard it all, they've breathed it all. It's just quite unique.
Yeah, somebody once told me that they believed that trees are wisdom keepers, that they store kind of all the knowledge and history, because it's true, a lot of them survive longer than we do.
Most of them do.
No, most of them do. Yeah. Well, I guess we're going to go to a break, but if anyone has any interesting tree stories or anecdotes or know stuff about trees, then please phone into the show and share your story. The number is 604-851-6307. Once again, it's 604-851-6307. And of course, I'm fascinated actually by the ancient Druids coming from England and all of that. And the name Druid is supposed to mean, there's two different translations, and one relates to the oak tree. And it's sort of like, wise man of the oaks or something, or seer, who, sort of like the visionary man of the oaks. And so the oak tree was a special symbol for the Druids. And I know in England, you've all heard about Stonehenge and those ancient stone circles. Well, you might not know this, but they also used to have wood henges. And I believe that some of the wood henges that they have found, and really all they find is, markings in the, buried under the ground that show that there were tree stumps put there, that they predate Stonehenge. And I think that probably evolved from people, seeing the forest as sacred, and worshipping or conducting their spiritual rites in the forest, and then creating their own man-made version of it. And there's a lot of, I believe that there's a relationship between the medicine wheel of the North America with those stone circles, because they're both, in a way, calendrical systems, and north, south, east, west, and all of that. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. We've been talking about ancient symbols, in particular the symbol of the tree as an archetype and a way of conveying spiritual information. So I have a question for you, Corey. Have you ever hugged a tree? Be honest.
I guess if I answer that, I'm going to get a reputation as a tree hugger. Have I hugged a tree? Yeah, I've hugged a tree. Here's my first question for you. Mm-hmm. Lindy, and her name is Lindy, and she asked, is my son all right, and will I see him again?
So Lindy asks, is my son okay, and will I see him again? Okay, let's take a look. She doesn't give a name for her son, but we'll just take a look anyway. So what I'm seeing is, well, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Is my son all right? Because I'm seeing, yes, he is all right. And I'm seeing that he is often thinking of you. So even though he may not be physically close to you, I'm seeing on a spiritual level that he is often thinking about you, and his energy is often around you. So that's been my answer for Lindy. And I don't, as you know, I don't predict the future, so I am not going to predict whether you'll see him again. So, do we have another question, Corey?
Yeah, we got lots of them here. What is my next right step? And this comes from Marnie.
What is my next right step? And that comes from Marnie. Okay, well, let's take a look at that, Marnie. What your next? And she doesn't say anything about what her previous steps have been.
No, I don't. She doesn't. She doesn't say anything at all like that. No.
Okay, great. All right. Well, let's take a look. What might my next right step be? Well, it actually looks to me like you are about to go on a new adventure in a different direction, Marnie. So whatever it is that you've been doing, it looks like you'll be shifting and changing a little bit. And I don't feel like this is a future time prediction, because I feel like you're sort of right on the threshold of that. And it probably is what stimulated to ask the question. And so if you're faced with the decision to keep going in the direction that you've been going, or you've got some new path that's opening up, what looks brightest to me is the new path that is opening up. And it may seem counterintuitive, because it looks like it is something that is quite different than what you've done before. And but like I said, it looks good to me. And maybe it's worth saying, oftentimes people limit themselves by what they've done already, or what they've been to school for, what they've studied in school. They think, well, I've put all of this effort and this time into developing this one particular aspect, that I have to keep going in that direction. And you know what? life is a tapestry, life is an adventure, and so don't let yourself be limited by that, and don't quash your dreams of new things because of that. So that would be my answer for Marnie, Corey. Do we have somebody else with a question?
Yeah, I have a question here from Corey. Corey wants to know, is it okay to hug a tree?
Well, Corey, I think that depends on, if you really want to hug a tree and you're really feeling drawn to hug a tree, then I would say go for it, and don't allow anybody else's judgments to get in your way of doing that.
Good. You didn't go into a trance or anything on that one. I guess I don't rate. Anyway, what is the best direction focus for my career / financial? And this is from Mandy.
The best direction for her career and for earning money. Okay, so what's coming up has to do with something that you're an expert in, something that you know a lot about. And like I said earlier, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've trained in it, but just something that you intrinsically know a lot about. And I'm seeing that there is something like that, something that you've always had an interest in, something that you've always been passionate about, and something that you have a natural aptitude for. And that, if there are questions about should I go in this direction or should I go in that direction, always choose the direction that your heart tells you to go in, the one that you feel enthusiastic about, not the one that you think logically, well, I better be a lawyer because I'll earn more money, or I'd better be who else earns a lot of money besides lawyers?
Doctors.
Politician. Because choose what you love and the rest will follow. Just be pure of heart and follow your heart. So now I've said that there's something that it looks to me like you're kind of an expert in, and I'm going to see if I can get some information about what that has to do with. And I was getting a picture of you with your fingers in the earth, actually. And I don't know whether that's literal or metaphorical, but I'm seeing you with your fingers in the earth. Oh, pulling out gold. So either the answer is mining, I don't think so though, or if there's something to do with plants or the environment, landscaping, just anything to do with plants, the outdoors, the natural environment, who knows, it could be mining. Anything of that nature, I would suggest that is something that that you're passionate about, then I would suggest that would be a good direction for you. We've got time for another question before we go to break.
Maybe she's got a pet pig thing to find truffles, I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh, I hope you can answer this one in time allotted. And this is from James. And James would like to know, what's my life's purpose? I find myself looking for direction lately.
Okay, well, let me take a look at James's life purpose. I'm just tuning into James. Well, it's interesting. I can see why you are feeling like you don't know. The reason that you feel like you don't know is because you do have a life purpose, but you're not grounding it into your body. And that's why you're feeling confused. It's sort of like in your body it's sort of all the cultural programming that we all go, the education, the expectations and all of this, and I'm seeing that that your purpose is kind of hovering above your head going, when's there going to be some space for me to come in here? So that's number one. And number two, I'm seeing you're afraid of your purpose. I'm seeing that there's something that is big and scary about it that's making you resist it. And so there's a couple of reasons why it's not flowing through you at the moment. One is to let go of expectations from other people, from the culture around you. Let go of the past, the way you've been, what you've been taught, so that you can be completely open to possibilities, and let go of your fear of being seen for who you really are. Now, when I look at the energy vibration around your purpose, I feel like it has something to do with either communication or healing, or a combination of the two. So give me a moment. I'm seeing that it is something to do with healing, and perhaps eventually teaching about healing. And I'm actually seeing that I'm getting some information about plant medicine. Whether you're going to create a grow-up or be a herbalist. I jest. But in somewhere in that area, looks like... And it looks like... here's the thing that you're afraid of. Because what I'm getting is to do with being an advocate for herbal medicine, an advocate for natural medicines. So someone in the area of healing, but not in the conventional healing arena. So we're not talking drugs and pharmaceuticals, we're talking herbal medicines, and we're talking standing up for them, standing up for the rights for people to use them, preventing the powers that be from quashing the little guy. And that's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of being seen and standing up, and what might happen as a result. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips, and I'm your host. We were talking about symbols tonight, but you don't let that limit you. And you can also phone up and have a question answered by me. And it could be to do with a relationship. Maybe you're having a relationship problem. Maybe you are having some... Well, we've had a few questions about career and money this evening, haven't we, on the email questions?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so maybe there's some more questions like that out there that you'd like to call in with. You don't have to give your real name, folks, either. Or maybe you've got a health question or life purpose. That's another one that's comes up a lot. So if you're shy, you can email info@drlesleyphillips.com. Corey is checking the emails, and as they come in, he reads them out on air. Have you got another question on the emails?
Yeah, well, you looking at what I was looking at, or what?
No, why?
Yeah, you just looked over your shoulder. No, I do have one. It's on a relationship. Actually, that's why I giggled, because you're dead on here. You must be psychic. And the question's from Ellie, and Ellie wants to know, what can I do to be in the vibration to attract my soulmate / twin flame? Is he out there?
Okay.
They're out there.
Okay. All right. So the answer, a lot of people ask this question, and I kind of give the same answer to everyone, which is, you attract what you are. You attract who you are. Whatever frequencies you have in your space, the universe will reflect them back at you. So if you are full of love and acceptance and joy, then the kinds of people that will be attracted to you will be full of love and acceptance and joy. But if you are full of pain and regret and guilt and fear and other vibrations, then more of that will be attracted into your life. So if you are wanting to create a loving and supportive relationship, the best way to attract somebody that can be that for you is to become it yourself first. So, remind me the lady's name again. I'm going to take a look at her.
Ellie.
Ellie. All right, I'm going to take a look at you in particular, Ellie, but That's kind of like a universal answer for that question. And I'm seeing that, I'm actually seeing that you're quite grounded and you know what you want. So that's not the problem. One of the things that I'm seeing is, though, that it looks like you've got some programming. And what I mean by programming is sometimes, I don't know, we read a book or we listen to somebody else's idea about something and we turn it into this perfect expectation of what life is supposed to be like. And so I'm seeing you've got some of that going on with respect to the idea of attracting your soulmate. And what I would advocate is spending some time just turning within, meditating, connecting deeply with yourself, and really ask yourself, what do I want? What would suit me in my life? What would be what would be a match for me, given who I am? And just do some self-exploration about what you really want, so that you're clear about what you're asking for, as opposed to just some idealistic other person that will come into your life and all your problems will melt away. Because that's not what a soulmate is. Soulmates can be the people that help us grow the most, the people that reflect ourselves back at us the most. And so it's not necessarily always, hearts and flowers and doves and Cupid. It can be growth that can be exhilarating, but that can also be painful if we resist it. So I would say just be careful what you ask for and be clear on what it is that you really are asking for and what you really want. So that's my answer for Ellie.
Oh, you do. I have a comment on that. I don't usually have comments on the questions, but I do on this one. And I think when someone asks that question, I think of my friend Sherry Huber in California. She's a Buddhist monk, and she's written many, many books. And she written a book called "Be the One You Want to Find." And I think after reading that book, it was so evident to me that if you're looking for someone, be exactly who you are, because you will attract that person, because that person will be in your area. It's like how you and I met, because I was going to a spiritualist church because I was really enjoying it. And we ended up, meeting each other there. And actually, what happens is if you're the person you want to be the person you want to find, people will notice it, and all of a sudden, people will start, hey, listen, I want you to meet my friend, and they'll put you together with people of like mind. It's very interesting. I think a lot of people try to be something they aren't when they're looking for love in all the wrong places.
Well, my life is yet to start, and my life is only going to begin when I meet that perfect mate that I'm meant to have. Yeah, exactly. Well, live your life now, love your life now, be all that you're meant to be now, and then the rest of the pieces will fall into place.
So I have a question from Ryan that just came in, and Ryan wants to know, I lost my passion to write. I need spiritual guidance to move forward. Should I choose another topic or focus?
Aha. Good question. Let's take a look. So he lost his passion
to write.
All right, so I'm just tuning into Ryan and his writing. Golly. So it's interesting. I'm very curious as to what you've written in the past, because it looks as though something that you wrote in the past, the last writing project that you did before you felt like this, before you lost your passion to write, it looks like it met with some criticism or judgment, or caused you to be ostracized, or caused you some kind of a difficulty or a problem, or was misunderstood, or somebody who was really important to you that you wanted to get it, didn't get it, or all of the above. So I'm seeing that something really invalidated you about your writing, and it got you stuck. It got you stuck because of the invalidation, and that your energy is sort of stuck in that pastime project and sort of feeling a bit depressed about writing because the last project brought you some pain. And I'm seeing that it was because you cared what somebody else thought that you got hooked into this problem. I'm seeing that you wrote from the higher levels of your being. You wrote your truth. You wrote what you felt was right. And if you feel it's right, it is right. You are no less valid than any other human being. And so, I'm seeing that there are people out there who completely get what you wrote, who completely understand what you wrote, who are glad that you wrote it. And then looks like there's somebody or a few people who didn't, and that you let that affect you. And so now you're like afraid of what else you might write that might meet with the same kind of backlash. And so your way out of being stuck is to stop caring what other people think, to let go of the past, just reconnect with your passion. And let me take a look and see if there's anything, because I can hear you saying, well, that's what I wrote to you. How do I reconnect with my passion? So let's take, by letting go of the past and letting go of your, caring if other people criticize you. Because here's the thing. If you're going to write something that's for public consumption, you're not going to be able to create something that everybody loves. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't agree. And so it's part of being a writer it's not even about growing a thick skin. It's just like, I'm writing what I love and what I believe in, and that's all I can do. So let's see if there's anything else that we can tell you that will help you. You want so much to be liked. You want so much to be accepted. You want so much to be validated. You want so much because it's like you poured yourself into it. And so it's sort of like, don't do it for acclaim. Don't do it for validation. Do it because you love it. Because you can't help yourself. Because you have to just put on paper whatever it is that you're passionately writing about. So let go of caring what other people think is really the short answer to the question. Do we have another one?
Whoops. Yeah, we do. How did you know? This question is from Sue. And Sue says, my question is, will I reach my full potential in this life and be successful? I have a lot of dreams and desires, and I'm wondering if and when they will come true. Future question.
All right, let's take a look. Well, I would say this, Sue, you pack a lot of power. You have a lot of power. You're a very powerful lady. You have an enormous amount of energy. And you know what? We never set ourselves any challenge or desire that we're not fully capable of achieving, for want of a better word. And so I'm seeing that you have all the power to do what you're wanting to do. And what I am seeing is, let's see if we can give you some pointers on this. Because I am seeing you, like I said, you have a lot of power, a lot of creative energy, a lot of power to create things, to focus on things, to get things to happen. And I think think one of the things that I might say to you is sometimes when we have a lot of dreams, we get overwhelmed because we have a lot of dreams, because we're like, there's 5 different things, and you try doing those 5 different things all at once, it becomes overwhelming. And so making a plan where you write down all of your dreams and then plot them on a timeline for your life. I don't know what your dreams are, you didn't share them, but let's make some things up. I want to be a nurse, so I'm going to go to college and I'm going to work as a nurse for 5 years or 10 years, but I also want to be a pilot and fly across the Atlantic. So then after that, I'm going to go to flight school. Just whatever it is, it's like plot it out, give it a timeline, and then don't beat yourself up if right now you're at nursing school, but you also have a dream to be a pilot, because you've planned it out. You're doing one at a time, because that's the thing. You're in physical reality. You are limited by time and space. You can't do it all at once. So figure out a plan and do it sequentially would be my suggestion. And then you'll look back at the end of your life and go, wow, look how much I did.
Right. Because everybody does that. I have a question from a lady named, I'm not even sure how to pronounce this, Sian. Sean? And Sean says, or writes, I am not sure what's in our future. Always worry about health and wealth. Thank you.
Health and wealth.
Well, actually, it's an interesting question. It says, I'm not sure what's in our future. So I guess she's just saying that's a generality. She's not sure about the future. Always worry.
She's asking for a family.
Health and wealth. Thank you.
Family and a husband. But okay, so health looks like a little bit of adrenal fatigue. Look, your adrenal glands are lighting up when I look at you on a health level. That is stress response, fight or flight. So I would say that it looks like whatever circumstances have been going on in your life, you've been experiencing them as stressful. So just do what you can to take care of your body, to make sure that you get enough rest, that you're eating a healthy diet, that you are try to find a way that you can let go of worrying too much, because I'm seeing that you are worrying a lot about the future, and your body's afraid because you're spending all your time trying to project into the future and figure out what's going on. And so health, yes, stress response, adrenal fatigue, and then the financial thing. Well, I'm seeing you're running into some issues with respect to that. I'm seeing that you have a block in physically, it's in your wrists. And, of course, the arms and the hand chakras are connected with our creativity and manifestation. So I'm seeing that there is some kind of block to you manifesting abundance for yourself. And I'm going to take a look at what that is. It's a concept that you were programmed with as a child, that you can only have so much. It's funny, I'm seeing the symbol of those charm bracelets that people used to like to have in the 1970s, and they collect a charm. And it looks to me, I'm going to make this story up. I don't know if it's true or not, but it'll serve as a metaphor anyway. It's sort of as if somebody gave you a charm bracelet, and they said, here's a charm bracelet, and next birthday I'll buy you a charm to put on it. And then next birthday they bought you a charm, and then they said, well, at Christmas I'll buy you another charm. And if you're good, next birthday I'll buy you another charm. So there was a limit. You could only have one charm on a special occasion. And it's sort of like you have a limit on your life like that. There's only so much I can have at any one time. There's only... And that belief, that stuck belief, is affecting your ability to create abundance for yourself. So bringing yourself into present time and letting go of the past, and explore your parents' concepts about havingness and abundance, and let go of their concepts and open up to, unlimited abundance.